Hello, everyone. Richard Fredrickson once again at Al Steakhouse at Jefferson Hemis. Welcome. We have a special guest for you. I want to share Father Burke Masters with you and some very special news and an invitation for many of you as well. But before we do that, I want to invite you to Al Steakhouse here at Jefferson and Hemis, the iconic restaurant in Joliet. And if you're brand new to the area, come on down. Open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner. Perfect place for just the two of you or a whole group for lunch. And ladies, if you'd like to come, they have a small room just off the main area for just a gathering of a few. Or they've got, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 banquet rooms if you've got bridal showers being planned or wedding showers, something special. Al Steakhouse is the place to be, along with the great Friday night seafood buffets and Sunday, the Easter, well, they have the Easter buffet at Easter, but they have the Sunday buffets that are famous all over the Chicagoland area. You stop in at Jefferson Hemis Al Steakhouse. It's the iconic restaurant of Joliet. Father, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you, and thanks to Mr. Schuster. He actually told me a few hours ago that you're going to stop by here at Al Steakhouse because you have something very special and very exciting to share with our folks. But before we do that, I always ask my guests a little bit about themselves. So if you can give me a little brief bio, and then also your title is Director of Vocations for the entire Joliet diocese. So I want to kind of slide into that, and I think you've got some rather exciting news about that as well. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I was born and raised here in Joliet. I'm a native son. On the south side, went to Laraway Grade School, Providence Catholic High School, and then played baseball at Mississippi State University and briefly in the Chicago White Sox minor league organization. So baseball is in my blood. That was my dream. I thought I was going to be a major league ball player. And after my playing career was done, I thought if I can't play in the major leagues, I'm going to become general manager. And so I started working for the Kane County Cougars, and I started working my way up the ladder. I was dating somebody pretty seriously, and she invited me to go to adoration. And it was in that quiet time of prayer that I started to hear this call to the priesthood. Very surprising to me, but obviously I listened to that call, and now I've been a priest for 13 years and wouldn't trade it for all the money in the world. And funny story is my former girlfriend married my best friend. I celebrated their wedding, baptized their kids, and we remain great friends to this day.
That's great. That's a great story. That's a wonderful story. And I'm just thinking, we were talking about where you could be moving from one housing unit to the cathedral area, and I'm thinking about I think his title is rector. I'm not sure.
Yes.
Father Brad Baker.
Yes.
And I remember Brad as a kid and his parents having Bible studies over there, and Brad kind of joining us from time to time. And then I remember him being at the Rialto Theater. He was something at the Rialto. I think he was booking programs or something. And again, the call comes and he becomes Father Brad Baker. It's interesting. It really is interesting.
God has his plans with
God
each
has
one
his
of us.
plans. Well, we have plans for you, the family, and also those kids out there who are interested in baseball. So it all starts on July 19th, and I'm going to have you share some of this. But before you do that, all things do not happen overnight. You don't become a White Sox player or a priest overnight. So how did this come about? Is it going to be a camp, a baseball camp? Kicks off with a family night on July 19th and then goes through the 22nd. We'll do details for you on that, but how did it come about? How did you get involved, and is this something that you've been doing for years, or is this something brand new?
It's something brand new. So 3 years ago, I got involved with a group called Catholic Athletes for Christ that Mike Sweeney and Ray McKenna started together. And their mission is to get Catholic priests in all of Major League Baseball parks and the NFL to supply the spiritual needs of Catholic athletes. And so the Cubs needed a chaplain, and I became the Catholic chaplain for the Chicago Cubs in 2012. And with that, got involved with Catholic athletes, met Mike Sweeney, who became a good friend. And he started sharing that he started these Catholic baseball camps 3 years ago. Kansas City, San Diego, and Seattle. And so he invited me to go to Seattle last summer, and I went. Archbishop Sarton, who was in Joliet for 4 years, also invited me. And I was just so impressed with this camp. It's very Catholic, and it's also great baseball. And Mike told me stories of whole families coming into the Catholic Church because of a baseball camp. And Mike's one of the most passionate people I've ever met. You know, he's an amazing baseball player, 15-year Major League ball player, 5-time All-Star, but he's even a better person and man and husband and father, just a great role model. So when I experienced Seattle, I invited him to come to Joliet, and he accepted, and so that's the background to having it here.
Great. And you're going to have it at Providence High School?
Yes.
All right, so it starts off with Friday night on July 19th. Tell me what takes place.
Yes, Sunday night.
I'm sorry, Sunday night.
Sunday night, July 19th. And so we're going to start with, it's called Catholic Family Night, where all families are invited. It doesn't matter whether they're coming to the baseball camp or not. We want to fill the football stadium. It's going to be in the football stadium outside, weather provided. If it's poor weather, we're going to go inside to the gym. And so during that night, it's 7 to 9 p.m., July 19th. Mike will be the keynote speaker, of course. I'll speak, and then we'll have some time for prayer, and we have some great musicians coming to do some praise and worship, and just to encourage families to come out and grow in faith and to help families strengthen their bonds.
Yeah. You mentioned a group that you've been working with that kind of ties into this as well, Fishers of Men.
Yes.
I think that Mike Cimino comes to mind with that. Is that group? Is it the same group?
It is. So Mike Cimino and I played Little League Baseball together at Rivals Park, and our paths have crossed again, and he leads up the Fishers of Men group here in Joliet. And I knew I couldn't do this camp by myself, and so Mike and I connected along with about 10 other people on this committee, and they've been great support. And our mission is just to help, the Fishers of Men is to help men grow in their faith. And I thought, wow, this is our missions connect, and we want to just strengthen families and help young people also grow in their faith as well through sports, which is where everybody is, you know.
Yeah. Two thoughts. One came to mind when you said you were the Chicago Cubs chaplain. Were they aware of the fact that you were in the White Sox organization?
I don't think so. And I'm learning to like the Cubs now. As I make these connections with the players, you can't help but start to root for them.
We'll talk about that a little bit. I want to make sure you get all the information. Now, you know, one thing that I've learned, we can't assume things on this show. I'm not going to assume that everyone knows where Providence High School is, and you non-Providence alumni and parents who are sending your kids to Providence. This is open to everyone, correct?
Open to everybody, yes.
So tell them where Providence High School is located.
Yeah, so the address is 1800 West Lincoln Highway in New Lenox, near the intersection of I-80 and Maple Avenue. Yeah. So very easy to get to off of I-80.
You absolutely cannot miss it. And now he gave you the address, so we'll pop that up on the screen as well, so you get your GPS out. And those folks, I'm really talking to a lot of people who are in that Joliet area from the south side of Chicago, who may have moved in here in the last 2 to 5 years and need to know about these things and how to get there. Because a lot of these folks who are coming in from the south side of Chicago are Catholic, and you need to know these things with your kids and your grandchildren. All right, so July 19th, 7 to 9 p.m. Catholic Family Night. And how much does it cost?
It's free.
For that night?
Yes. That night, there's no tickets required, no RSVP, no money. We just want families to come and enjoy the evening.
So you have some, what I would call praise bands or praise groups in there for worship?
Right. Yes, so we'll have music going on as people are arriving. At 7 o'clock, we'll open with prayer. I'll probably speak first, and then Mike will be the keynote, and then go into some more prayer and praise and worship.
Great. And he did mention about Mike Sweeney, 15 years in the major leagues and with the Royals, Seattle, and also with Philadelphia. So the guy has some background in baseball, and certainly his testimony, I think, will he talk about his testimony that night?
He will share his testimony, and he also will be inducted into the Kansas City Royals Hall of Fame this summer. Wow. So an outstanding baseball player. So it's going to be a high caliber baseball camp.
As Mike is quoted as saying, he has the greatest story ever told, and from his perspective, the greatest game ever played, baseball, but you'll want to hear his story for sure. That's July 19th, 7 to 9 p.m., and I think that information will be up on the screen either now or at the end of the conversation. And if you just tuned in, we're talking to Father Burke Masters, a vocation director, Joliet Diocese. And yes, I will talk about Joliet Diocese and vocation director. We want to make sure you have this information. So what happens now? It's Sunday. Now it's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, July 20th through the 22nd. From early in the morning, 8 a.m. For teenagers, that's early in the morning.
It is.
Till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Tell us what takes place.
Yeah, so registration happens prior, so people can register online, and we'll probably put that website up, or we'll get that information out. And it's registrations at 7:30 Monday morning, and we begin each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with Mass at 8 o'clock. And the first day, Mike Sweeney's going to be there the whole day, so don't miss this opportunity. Like I say, a great Major League Baseball player and a great man coming to our area. After Mass, and so each day we have 3 different priests celebrating Mass that can relate to the young people, myself and Father Dennis Spees and Father Paul Solomon, a newly ordained priest. He's been a priest about a month now. And then the kids warm up, and we have, again, coaches from all over the area. We're going to have station drills the rest of the morning, so they're going to get very solid baseball instruction. And what we found in previous camps is because it's great baseball, you're going to get some of the best ball players in the area. You're also going to get kids who don't know much about baseball at all, but because it's Catholic, they're going to be there as well. So everybody's welcome, no matter what level of baseball you play. And it's ages 8 to 16 are the campers. We also would like to have some 17 to 22-year-old helpers that can help guide the kids around the stations. Then we break for lunch, and while the kids are eating lunch, Mike Sweeney and probably one of the other coaches will share their faith testimony with the boys, because they look up to these guys, and to see how you can love baseball and love Jesus at the same time, you know, it kind of opens their eyes. And then in the afternoon we play games, fun games of baseball. And then we finish the day, Mike will give a talk on the rosary and confession, and we'll pray part of the rosary, and then we'll have priests set up around the positions on the baseball field, and the kids go running out to go to confession on the baseball field. It's one of the greatest things I've seen.
That's interesting.
Yeah. This is all an idea that Mike Sweeney came up with himself.
Now, that camp, there is a cost to that camp, correct?
Yes.
Now, how much is that in there? And I'll just let you tell the folks about that, but I would also ask if there's scholarships involved in that as well.
Yes. So the cost is $300 for the camp, but we want people to know that we will not turn anybody away. You know, if you need a scholarship, whether partial or full, there's a phone number that they can call on the website, and that person will talk through, you know, what can you pay, if anything, and we'll work it out with you. So we just want kids there. The capacity is 150.
Okay.
And right now we have about 80 kids registered, so there is still some room. So get your registration in soon, because at 150 we do have to cap it.
Well, really soon, because we're talking just really days away for this to take place. June went by like this, and we're already into July. So July 19th is the Sunday night, and then the 20th and 22nd is coming up soon. So don't hesitate. We've got the information up there for you. Get the registration in, and have those kids in there. And there's more information for you too. There's a website up there, you said?
Yes.
What is the website?
It is abcsportscamps.com/Catholic Baseball Camp IL for Illinois. So it's a long website.
Well,
but
we'll
you can even,
and
you could also Google Catholic Baseball Camps, and this will come up.
And I know that's what you'll do.
Yes.
You'll just Google it.
Yes.
Well, I do.
I do
but
too.
we'll have it up there for you. Well, this is great. It truly is different, unique. And I know you mentioned you were up in Seattle, was it? Where you?
Yes, I was in Seattle last summer.
What was your impression of that? What kind of, did they have 150 kids there, or 80 kids, or more than that?
So far, every camp that Mike has done, they've filled up at 150. And you know, people travel from all over the country to these camps. It's not just the local kids. So of the 80 kids that we have registered so far, 20 are from out of state. And so families see the value in this. You know, not only is it baseball, but it's faith-based,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just some great role models. So they're coming from as far as California for this camp.
I can see this thing growing, and I don't see a downside to it at all in any way. So again, it all starts July 19th. It's at Providence Catholic High School, and we'll do a little wrap-up before we're finished here. As I promised, I wanted to find out a little bit more about Father Burke Masters. His title is Vocation Director of the Joliet Diocese. And my perspective is, I think that sometimes reality isn't what people think it is. But for years and years, there's been, 2 priests ordained in some dioceses, and some dioceses none, and it just kind of faded away for, 20, 30 years. So now tell me the positive news and tell me what's happening.
Yes.
Did you miss a meeting or something and they made you vocation director? Is that what happened?
Yeah, there's not many priests scrambling for this position in the diocese. Bishop Imish asked me back in 2006, and I had been a priest 4 years and loved parish ministry, but something in me said this will be good. So I'm starting my 10th year now as vocation director. We just accepted our 41st seminarian for our diocese, which is the first time we've been over 40 in over 35 years.
Wow.
And so I want people to hear that there's good news, because everything you hear is, vocations are plummeting and there's nobody going into this. Actually, we've seen a steady rise across the country, even after the scandal. And people say, why would that be?
Yeah, why would that be?
And I think it's almost like a forest fire. After a fire happens, this new growth comes up. Yeah, I remember my dad asking me, I was ordained in 2002, right when the scandal broke out, and he said, are you sure you want to be a part of this? And I said, Dad, I want to be a part of the solution. And that's what all of these guys are saying. And these are men who could do anything. They're bright, they're athletic, they're talented, and they're following the Lord's call, and they're just full of joy. So there's great hope for the church as a whole, but especially here in our diocese.
Yeah. Well, there's certainly a need for vocations in priests and ministers, because, again, my opinion, my view, a lot of Catholic/Christians are under attack these days from a lot of different areas. So it's good news. When you mentioned and when you talk to, you're talking to high school kids or college kids when you do this?
Vocations.
Vocations.
I start in grade school all the way up to,
Okay.
we have a couple seminarians who are in their 50s. So we have them as young as 18. The youngest that they can be is a high school graduate. And we have a couple men, one who is a widower, and his son is actually a seminarian as well. And then we have a man who's in his 50s, an attorney, and just had this conversion and strong call to the priesthood. And so it's really interesting, the path that God calls us to.
Yeah, it is interesting. I believe at least he was at one time. I don't know. Is the pastor at St. Mary's in Plainfield, wasn't he a Lutheran minister or something before?
Yes, Father David Meadow.
Yeah. So then that's also a transition thing going on.
Right. Yeah, so great things happening. And like I say, one of the things we just started this year was one of the seminarians came up with it. We have a seminarian basketball team, and they go around playing different schools, and at halftime at the basketball game, one of them gives their testimony, and so the kids see these seminarians as normal, athletic, and something that they should consider doing. Yeah. So we're going out into the sports arena and bringing the gospel to it.
It's a great arena to do that with. I remember years and years and years ago, I had buddies who were going to Quigley, and they were all basketball players, but that is close. So where do these where do they go today? Where are they studying at?
So we use 3 main seminaries. For college, if they come out of high school, they go to St. John Vianney College Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota. If they come out of college, they begin by going to the Josephinum Seminary in Columbus, Ohio. And then they all funnel into, the last 4 years, they all go to Mundelein here in the Archdiocese of Chicago.
So Mundelein is still there?
Mundelein is still there and flourishing. And Father Bob Barron, I don't know if you know him, he's the rector there, probably one of the best evangelists in the United States right now. And they just told me that they're full. For the first time in, I think, their history, Mundelein is full. So that's news that people need to hear also, that many of our seminaries in the country are full.
Exciting news for you Catholics out there, and exciting news about the camp. The other things that are happening in the diocese on vocations, not in your purview, but any indications on the other religious brothers, deacons, or I know the Franciscans are always celebrating something there on Essington Road. They're great ladies. I will tell you a story about a group of nuns early on. I don't know the order, at St. Jude's.
Currently there?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nashville Dominicans.
With the white,
yes.
yeah. So Dick and Millie Schuster invited me to go to the Italian American Club. I don't know, 3, 4, whenever they first started, whenever, 5 years ago, whenever it was. So they're there, and it's spaghetti, right? Pasta, all that, and they're in their white habits, and they're with a priest who will remain nameless. I said to Dick and Millie, now this is really something. I want to watch this, because usually, you know, if you get a couple of spots somewhere, you talk about miracles. Not one drop of sauce on those habits. However, the priest was not as fortunate, because he had it all over the place.
Yeah, these sisters, they're receiving 25 to 30 young ladies every year. I think they have about 300 sisters in their order, in their convent. Average age is in the low 30s, and that's another thing people don't see. The Franciscans here in our diocese are celebrating their 150th anniversary of many, many years of faithful service, so good things happening.
So it's good. And you read often about the something we didn't have years ago. We had it, but I mean it wasn't as prevalent, and that's the deacons in the church. For those of you who would want to know a little bit about becoming a deacon, how does that come under the vocations that you're talking about too?
Yeah,
or
not directly. I work with the director of the diaconate, and so they're at an all-time high as well. I think we have about 230 deacons in our diocese, and so we now have more deacons than we have priests. And so you have to be at least 35 years old, an active Catholic, obviously, with the support of your local pastor. And it's about a 4.5-year process. You know, to become a priest, it's a 6 to 8 year process. The deacons are 4.5 years here at the Blanchette Catholic Center. They come for classes 2 to 3 times a week, and they've just been a great support, great help here in our diocese.
Yeah, great. If you've just joined us, you're just in time for our wrap-up of something very special. It's going to take place at Providence High School starting on July 19th, and if we can just do a real quick overview of what's going to take place.
Yes, so Sunday, July 19th, Providence Catholic High School, 7 to 9 p.m. 15-year Major League veteran Mike Sweeney will be there, and myself will be speaking. Time for prayer, adoration, praise and worship, just a time for family. No cost, no tickets, all are welcome. We're gonna be in the football stadium unless it rains. So if it rains, we'll be in the gym. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, July 20th to the 22nd, baseball camp for kids ages 8 to 16. Registration, we'll give the website. And $300 registration fee for that, but scholarships are readily available. So please don't let the cost hinder you to register.
Yeah, and capacity of only 150,
Right.
So if you want your kids or grandchildren to be involved in this, you need to move on it right now, as a matter of fact, okay? If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, don't call, but
Register online.
you can register online, okay? That's great. Wonderful news, and we ought to have you back on again. We'll see if Mr. Schuster can book you back on here again. Great talking with you, great meeting with you, and I'm Richard Fredrickson, and we're going to see you next time. Take care.